I did my 31 day of watercolor lettering. It's gonna be a long one, so grab a snack and let's get started. If you're new here, my name is Aurélie and I'm a lettering artist from Australia. If you know me already, you probably know that my work is mostly digital, black and white lettering with lots of flourishes. Last month, I decided to take on a 31-day challenge called Peachtober and get out of my comfort zone and use watercolors. Peachtober is a yearly challenge where you have to draw every day of October following a prompt. This challenge was created by a furry little peach. There are no restrictions, you can use any medium you want, and everybody can participate. So I decided to set myself the goal of experimenting with watercolors and create physical artworks that I could then photograph and by the same occasion improve my photography skills. Starting a challenge like this can feel a little bit overwhelming because the idea of endless possibilities can leave you feeling completely stuck. I recently read this book by Austin Kleon in which he says, "Nothing is more paralyzing than the idea of limitless possibilities. The idea that you can do anything is absolutely terrifying. The way to get over a creative block is to simply place some constraints on yourself." So here are the few constraints I gave myself right from the beginning. Only use 3 colors, 2 complementary colors, yellow and purple, and 1 secondary color, pink. Only use lettering and try to use a new style of letters and composition each time. Only work at a small scale so I can capture flat lay photographs of my work. Have fun and create work that I enjoy without thinking I need to create a masterpiece every day. And yes, these restrictions help me get started. And even if this seems contradictory, limitation really equals freedom. And here are all of the tools that I've used. Some Ecoline watercolors, Arches watercolor paper, Winsor & Newton Colourless art masking fluid, NUM pickup eraser, Uniball White Gel Pen, Col-Erase Prismacolour colored pencils, brushes, and a plastic eyedropper. Alright, so let's get started. So this was the very first prompt. The word was home. So because it was the first prompt, I was still deciding what style I was going for, what color I was going for. I was trying to give myself restrictions so it would be easy. I wouldn't have to spend too much time thinking, okay, what style am I going to do today? What colors am I going to use today? What format and all that. So giving myself restriction right from the beginning actually helped me come up with more ideas, and this is what I did here. So it was probably one of the most difficult prompts because I was still deciding and obviously making decision right from the start. When you're using a medium you've never used before, it's a bit difficult, but I'm pretty happy with how this one came up, and I kind of kept it rather simple. I only used 2 colors, so that purple and that reddish color in the background, that very light beige, which was done with the red color. Yeah, I was rather happy with this one. Obviously, if I had more time and was redoing it now, it would probably be a bit better. I think the illustration, I would know what to do a bit more with like contrast and like small details and things like that. But yeah, overall, a pretty cool piece. Second prompt was raccoon, and with this one I wanted to do something a bit more illustrative, so I've drawn this little raccoon face, and I was still trying to incorporate lettering, and this is like a poster, and at this stage I was starting to really enjoy this sort of texture, which I think looks really cool, like watercolor letter forms. I think it just looks, I don't know, I love this texture. Something that I always try to achieve in Procreate. So being able to do it with watercolors is actually much better. But yeah, it's one of my first attempts. So as you can see here, I'm still not playing with color too much. I'm just being safe. So I'm just using that purple and that same kind of background I've used in the previous one. Day number 3 was bridge, and with this one I just didn't want to draw a bridge. I decided to go with a pun instead, so just yeah. And here on my Instagram you'll probably see that I've changed the colors of that orangey warm red color, because I thought it didn't really match. So as you can see, it's kind of tricky because it's something that I was still learning at this stage. But you can see that this purple and this yellow in the background, they're very cool colors, so they're not warm compared to this one. So I think that's one of the reasons why it's kind of clashing a little bit, and I thought that pinkish color was much suited, and that's why I've kind of photoshopped it. But yeah, I'm just happy with this one. It was just a simple one, just like the little star shapes. I think they look good. And I've added this neon yellow as well. I was trying to include that within my designs. I haven't used it in all of my submissions, but yeah, I thought it was a cool color to include, but it didn't work each time. Day number 4 was fish. So here I was trying to experiment with different techniques and trying new stuff, really, to be honest. And I used masking tape on the outside so I could have this really cool one color background and this nice gradient. And I've used masking fluid on the letters for the word, for all of the words actually. And yeah, at this stage I was really just practicing, learning new techniques. So I am not entirely happy with this layout, and I mean, it's not too bad, but like if I was doing it again, from what I've learned, I would do a few things differently now. And mainly, as you can see, I was trying to have that red color. That's the mermaid tail here. It's the red, but I've just used like a tiny little bit just so that it would look pink. So I was always trying to get that pink color happening. And by this stage I was like, no, this is it. I think I need to get pink instead of red and use actual pink. So from day 4 I went back to the art shop and bought pink. So yeah, and I also tried to include that fluoro yellow. But yeah, I was just like experimenting, so it's not too bad. Okay, so day 6 was sword, which again I was trying to do a few more things and just try out things. Like, to be honest, it was my first time using watercolors, so I was still learning and just really wanting to learn by doing. So I was not gonna wait until I knew exactly what I was doing before doing something. But yeah, if I was doing it now again, I would probably change a few things. I think this is too dark, the details aren't so well executed, and I think my personal feedback would be that the books are probably too big compared to the sword, and that sword gets a little bit lost with all the little things. But still, it's a good attempt, and yeah, I used the pink. So as you can see, the pink with that purple and that yellow, it match way better because it is a cool pink, if that makes sense. I will link a video on colors and warm versus cool colors so you can understand that. So I had to watch that video to understand how it all worked. But yeah, I definitely learned from that mistake, like mixing cool and warm tones. It just doesn't work really well. So switching to pink at this stage was definitely a good move. So that's day number 6, and that's wood. So I thought wood, typography, lettering, wood type. Yeah, wood type. So I went with this very cool kind of wood type poster style, and it was a good one to kind of practice with gradients and mixing colors. So I'm pretty much just like mixing all of my new colors here and just pretty much experimenting and learning how they behave together and how many like different colors you can get. This cool purplish colors I like, and then these very nice warm yellow orange. I know I said warm, even though they're like cool color. It will make sense in the video. And yeah, so that's wood. This one is bugs, and I was starting to be quite happy with what I was producing at this stage. I was like, okay, yeah, this is getting somewhere. I'm really enjoying this piece. I think the colors are working nicely. The composition is nice, and yeah, it was just like getting somewhere. If I was to do it again today, I would probably make this color a little bit lighter because it's just here. Because it's looking almost black, but it's not that bad. And yeah, I could improve some details here, but so overall, I'm quite pleased with this piece. I think it looks good. Excuse me. So this is a number 8, which is Prize. And I was trying to do a few more experiment with gradients here. And yeah, watercolor gradients are quite tricky, to be honest. And if this was done on the iPad, the gradients would be looking perfect because you can kind of redo it. But with this one, obviously you can't. So you just have to stick with what you've done. And even if there's like a few darker areas that you think shouldn't be there, they're there. So but yeah, it's just a learning, and I think it still looks cool. And yeah, I like how I've included that neon color, neon yellow. I've just added like tiny little reflections, and I think it looks quite nice. But with my experience now, I think I could redo this one and make sure the gradients are all consistent, and I think it would look really nice. I should probably do that. This one is number 9, Rainbow, and I'm not a huge fan of rainbows. I think they have too many colors, and plus with my restriction I was only using 3 colors, and it would have been a 3-colored rainbow, which is not the best option. So I've decided to go with this style and just kind of have the word rainbow in the quote, which I thought was cool. Like it's a movie. I don't know if you've seen it, but can't remember the name. I'll try and find it. But yeah, the little chick, she's talking about farting rainbows and pooping butterflies, and that's what it reminded me of. I spent so much time working on the lettering for this one on the sketch because I don't know, I was just struggling so much, like letters wouldn't be legible, and but yeah, I was getting better at doing some sort of gradients and cool color effects, and overall it's okay. This one is one of my favorite. It's number 10, Pet. And I just really love the quote. I love the layout, the colors I've used. You can see I'm getting better with colors, and I was able to kind of keep that very light color throughout the whole piece without having to go really dark. So when you mix the watercolor with water, it just becomes lighter, and it's so tempting to just use, particularly because it's liquid watercolor, so tempting to use just the liquid watercolor just by itself without mixing it with any other colors, because you know what to expect and it's kind of like there's no guesswork happening. But here I'm getting better at not doing that and keeping the colors really light and keeping that consistency as well. And I'm also experimenting with some texture, so like that fur texture that you can see here, and I think it looks pretty cool. And yeah, just love the quotes. You like it, Niche? It's yours. He doesn't care. So this is number 11. So at this stage we are 1/3 through the challenge, and I've decided to do something a bit more illustrative for this one. I really wanted this challenge to be an experimentation, and experimenting with adding illustration, still keeping some typography, some lettering. So yeah, I was gonna really happy with this one. It's nice and warm, and I'm definitely getting more used to these colors.
So yeah, it's still the same colors, but depending on how you mix them, how much colors you put together, it just creates different shades, and it's awesome. But yeah, I think this one came out pretty cool. I kind of love it. It's nice and cute. It's on this little format, square format, and it's cool. This one is number 12 foam, and with this one I wanted to experiment with that water effect which I've seen on Instagram, but mostly I've seen people do it with either gouache or oil paint, and I've never seen anyone do it with watercolors. Maybe people probably have done it, but I've never seen anyone do it, so I was kind of happy with that cool discovery. I think people really enjoyed this one. They were like, oh wow, my god, that's so cool. So it's done with just one color, so just that purple. So once again, you can see it's amazing how many hues you can get just from mixing the watercolor with water. So this is with a lot of water, so it creates that very light purple shade, and then the darker area are with no water pretty much. That's why it looks so dark. But yeah, I think this is really cool. Discovering all the things you can do with watercolor, and it's magic, to be honest. So this one is Horn. That was number 13, and as you can see, I've kind of gone bigger and decided to do something on a bigger format just so I could add more details. And with this piece, as you can see, I'm experimenting with more colors, really enjoying these colors at this stage. I was like, oh, this is the perfect color palette. I'm just liking it so much, and I really enjoyed this design as well because it has symmetry, and I think drawing this folk art style, it looks really nice with watercolors, because like drawing leaves and flowers with watercolors, and I think it always creates a really cool effect. Like whatever you do, any leaves you do, they will always kind of look cool, particularly if you do like gradients and use lots of texture effect and all that. So yeah, and I included that neon color on these flowers and some details here, which I think complements the artwork really well. And look at these unicorns. Yeah, let me know what you guys think of this one. I was really happy with this one. I thought it was cute. Number 14 is Storm. So this one, out of all of my entries, is the one that got the most likes on Instagram. People love this one, and I think it's nice. I had this idea in my mind right from the start. I've always wanted to kind of try this, like, it's like a totally Gemma O'Brien style, 100%. And she usually does this with markers, black markers. So I thought, oh, what if I do this style but with watercolors? And I was like, oh yeah, that's so cool. And as you can see, I've tried to do this gradient effect, so using purple paint, and then slowly I was like dipping my brush, I was just dipping in more of a pink shade, and then just pink, and then adding slowly a bit of yellow, and then just using yellow. But yeah, if I was to do it again, I would probably make sure these styles are yellows. It just kept bugging me. I was like, oh no, this needs to be yellow, but it's fine. It's like, it's all coming. It all came out nicely. And I've added obviously little details, some like cool little stars with a white gel pen, and yeah, pretty cool. Sorry that my cat decided to go right in the middle of this shot, but I mean, he's so cute. Who could blame him? So the next one was core, and hardcore. Yeah, I really struggled with this one, guys. I went through nearly like a meltdown because I was like, oh, because it's like, we were halfway through the challenge here, exactly. That's number 15, and I was like, oh, this is all taking me so long, it's taking me so much effort, and with this one I couldn't get it right. Like I was because I started with this yellow dimensional effect, which was really cool. I was like, oh yes, this is awesome. I'm happy with the way it looks, but then I added the purple and then the yellow got lost. So I was like, oh, I need to create a background color so that it stands out and the yellow kind of comes out a bit more, but then the purple got lost again, and it was just, yeah, a lot of effort with this one. I was like, no, and wanting to throw my paintbrush at the wall, to be honest. But I kept working on it. I was like, no, I'm not gonna give up. I'm not gonna mess up this piece. I'm gonna keep working on it and make it happen. And overall, I was kind of happy with the result. Obviously, if I was redoing it now, I would know exactly what to do and what not to do. But I think it's from doing these mistakes that you learn, and this is the best way to learn, I suppose, from making mistakes and just learning as you go. So after that meltdown, obviously I decided, okay, I'm gonna make a simple one this time, and I've made this one, which took me possibly maybe 15 minutes to do. It was super chill out, and yeah, just like it. It's nice. It's still playing with the colors, keeping it simple. It was good to kind of have a bit of a break and chill for a bit. Then I went with something a lot more detailed, as you can see, and I was so happy with this one. When I did it, I was like, yes, this is getting somewhere. I'm starting to really feel confident with creating kind of like textured effects. You can see with the leaves. Obviously, playing, I think maybe there's like a little bit too much happening, and this ampersand is a bit lost, and this could be a bit darker so that it would stand out more. But yeah, it's like tiny details that really at the end of the day doesn't really matter. I'm still learning, and overall I think this came out pretty cool. And yeah, that's the whole magic of it. It happens, and once it's happened, you can't really change it, unlike on the iPad. So whatever comes out, whatever appears on the page when you put paint will remain that way. And yeah, still really happy with this one. So number 18 was warm, and again another one I was like, oh, I'm gonna keep this one simple so I can have a bit of a break. And this one is rather warm. I tried to keep this like really warmish colors, even though I'm using cool colors, remember. And you probably can't really tell, but there's like a really subtle washed out pink background and like some nice shadows, and I thought this 3D letters looked really cool. Just, yeah, I think it would look nice as like a pattern of something, or like a card, I don't know. I think it looks cool. So number 19 is cool, and I've tried to play with this style where each letter is a kind of a unique different style, and they don't match but they work pretty well together, and I thought that was really cool. And I was super happy with this pink gradient on the C, and I think, yeah, it's really nice. And this one looks so cool as well. I was just kind of really pleased with the way it turned out. And yeah, as you can see, it's getting more confident with colors as well, and just, yeah, enjoying adding details. And I think just with this one, if I could, I would maybe make this dimensional effect a bit more visible. I don't know, like having more contrast so you know what's happening. But yeah, small things that can be improved. That's number 20, pie. Again, I was trying to add more illustrations, so I drew this really cool pie, and yeah, from looking at it, I think just this text here on the banner could stand out more. So I'm thinking maybe it would be nice to have it in white instead of that color, and yeah, that would yeah, or maybe like have the banner like a bit darker, like more like that leaf color, and have the words written in white with like a bolder font. I think it would look nice. Something I could easily kind of redo and make sure it's nice. But overall, I'm really happy with that pie and that gradients on the leaves there. I think it looks really cool. Number 21 is shadow, and of course I had to draw an ampersand during this challenge, and I'm super happy with how I've managed to control those gradients here. I think I'm definitely getting more confident. You can see all the gradients here, and yeah, I really like this ampersand. And I just love that galaxy background as well. It was done using the purple and a little bit of pink and a lot of like water, so it was like a lot of ink. A lot of ink on the page, and of course I've used masking tape on the sides. So yeah, overall a really cool piece. I nearly decided to kind of cut the edges with scissors, which I didn't, but I think it would look cool to kind of do that. I don't know, maybe one day I'll do it. Number 22 is rain, and again another one where I kind of wanted to keep it rather simple and experiment with another style, and particularly a different type of layout. So I always go with like something that is like super symmetrical and everything is like happening on both sides, and it's really was something that I've been trying to achieve with this challenge, and really challenge myself to create something that's a bit more dynamic and not so symmetrical and controlled. And I wanted to experiment with something a bit more, I don't know, cool, laid back and chill, pretty much like what I've done with this piece as well. They have something in common because they're not like fully symmetrical, and they're still balanced, but like there's no like reflection. Like this is on an angle going up, and then things on the bottom, and yeah, it's cool. Flowers, flowers. They look similar, hey. All right. This one is probably one of my favorites, Glow, and I'm definitely going to explore that style a lot more. I think it's so cool. I love the colors, I love that it's typography based, and I still love that it's an illustration as well, and I love that it's using retro typefaces as well as retro colors, and just it's kind of mixing all of the things I like. Plus there is not really any symmetry, it's still balanced, like there's things happening like everywhere, it's nicely balanced, but there's no like perfect symmetry, which I always do. So I think this is definitely a style I want to experiment with a lot more, maybe on the iPad. And yeah, really cool stuff. This Glow, I wish I had made it a little bit more pink and not so orange, but yeah, easy to Photoshop. This one is number 24, Carton, and it took me a while to come up with an idea for this one, because I was like, carton, what can I do? I was thinking maybe a pizza box, so then I thought, oh, food, what can I do that is food in a carton? Yeah, I thought popcorn. So yeah, I was super happy with the colors on this one. I think just from using those 3 colors, I managed to do this, and that's just super cool to think this popcorn color was achieved by mixing purple, yellow and pink together, but like in very small quantity, and it created that very warm yellow beige color. And yeah, just thought, oh, that's so cool. So like it's just incredible to think all the things you can do with just 3 colors. And look at this cute little guy, he's so happy. He's made from recycled carton. He's a good guy. Number 25 is Burn, and I found this quote which was quite appropriate. I was feeling like I was gonna burn out at this stage. After 25 days of doing watercolors every day, you start to feel a little bit tired, to be honest. So with this one, I was planning on doing the same type of effect I did for this one. So this was gonna be like a gradient on the text. So there would be no background and the text would be the same color as this. And it didn't happen. It was because it was done on this small format. I think if I had done it on a bigger page, it would have been easier, but because I tried on this small format and I was doing gradients with that word, it just didn't work. It was a fail. So instead, I decided to create a background, try a new technique, and just use those white markers for the whole piece, for the entire piece. And I think it looks really nice. But still, I wish there was like more gradients happening on the banner, and it definitely looks better on my iPad, to be honest. With this one, the sketch looks better. But still, I think it looks pretty cool, and I really like this background. And yeah, I think I'm gonna keep working on this piece on the iPad and kind of post it sometime soon. Next one is hat, and when I thought hat, I thought, oh yeah, Mad Hatter. And I'm super happy with this one because I think it's pretty much all I had intended with this challenge. So I'm combining illustrations with different typefaces, and I'm not using perfect symmetry, and I am playing with lots of colors that I am happy with. So overall, this entire piece is combining everything I was aiming with this challenge, if that makes sense. So everything worked, everything happened. So lettering, layout, colors, illustrations, and I like this quote. So overall, I think this is a winner. One of my favorite, definitely in my top 3. So this one is 27 Orchard, and I tried to do something more illustrative again, still including some sort of typography, a very minimal typography on this one, but I was still happy to play with illustrations. And look at those colors. I mean, it's just, I'm still like, every piece I was doing, I was discovering new colors and combining those colors together, and depending on how much water you put, how much color you put, you get new colors. So like, I think every piece I'm discovering new colors, and I just love those colors. Look at those gradients here. Oh, just... This one is definitely the one that has my favorite colors in it. But yeah, if I was redoing it, maybe I would make the strawberries stand out a little bit more. I think they just get a little bit lost with this purple background. What do you think? But still pretty happy with this one. So here we were getting towards the end. I was feeling relieved. I was like, oh yeah, this is happening. This challenge is nearly over. I'm almost done, and I'm super happy with myself. So this one is number 28, Bloom. By this stage, when I did this piece, I was like, it was all for something. I knew from doing this challenge at this stage that I had learned something, and I was so happy and feeling super relieved. And when I did this one, I was like, oh my god, like a month ago I was not able to do something like this, but now I can. And so it really goes to show that you get better at something from doing it. You cannot wait to be good at something to do it, if you know what I mean. Like, you have to start, you have to push through, you have to challenge yourself, you have to make mistakes, learn, try different things, and then you'll be able to kind of find what you like, what works, and be able to do stuff that you're happy with. I think this one is, it's simple, it's cute, the colors work, and yeah, it's I don't know, it's just nice, and I really love those colors. At this stage I only had 3 more to go, and I was so happy, so excited to be done with this challenge. With this one I just couldn't find what to do. The prompt was fossil and I just didn't want to draw just a dinosaur, so instead I drew those little rocks. That's why it says you rock, and it has some like cool fossils, and it's like a stamp. So yeah, it's cool. Not my favorite out of all, but I just struggled so much. But yeah, I'm still happy that I did it. This one is the second to last, so number 30, balloon, and yeah, I was kind of happy with this one. Again, I went with a bigger format because I wanted to kind of play with more details on the balloon and have the typeface on the balloon. So if I had made it half of that, the typeface would have been like very tiny. So I'm quite happy with the colors on this one. I think it's just nice and a bit magical. I just love this one as well. Yeah, just had fun with this one, to be honest. So the idea with this one at the start was to actually make the balloon a darker color and have the text in white, but I didn't go with that idea and did that instead. So I think it would be nice to maybe do this one again and see if it works, because I think it would have made the balloon stand out a bit more, but I really like how this turned out. So I think, yeah, both ideas would be nice, but maybe it would be worth trying. And this is the last one, number 31, which was moon. And this one was made for Halloween, so once in a blood moon. And again, I went with some symmetry, and I just really like this one. I think it's nice, it's balanced, I love the colors, it looks quite perfect for Halloween with that orange and that reddish kind of burgundy color, which is just, again, crazy to think it was created just with those 3 colors. So to create that burgundy colors, I've mixed a lot of yellow with a lot of pink and just a touch of purple, and it created that really cool red burgundy color. And yeah, no, I love it. I just like the composition, I like the text, I like the colors. Perfect for Halloween and perfect for the last prompt, my last submission. At this stage, I was so happy I was done, to be honest. It was a lot of work, but yeah, quite happy with this one.
So here are my best watercolor tips that I've learned along the way. Use high quality materials, particularly when it comes to paper, brushes and paint. I started off using cheap materials and I struggled a lot. If you're a beginner, I don't recommend using the cheapest materials. It will feel more difficult and this might discourage you. Instead, try and find better quality materials and you'll enjoy the process a lot more. Always sample your colors before applying them. When I was doing my paintings, I always kept a piece of paper, the same high quality paper I was using for my artworks, and I sampled every color I had mixed before applying it onto my page. Make bigger batches of color. If there is a color that you've mixed and that you like, you should pre-mix a bigger batch of that color, because chances are you'll never be able to mix that exact same color again, and this could ruin your work. Only use a limited color palette. I've learned so much about colors from doing this challenge, and this could be the subject of an entire course, but my best advice is to always use a limited color palette and work with colors you like. When applying colors in your design, also make sure you play with contrast and don't put two colors that are too similar next to each other. Be very patient. Most watercolor artists will tell you the opposite, but because it was a challenge, I had to use a hairdryer very carefully sometimes so that the paint would dry quicker. Be extremely careful with that because this can smudge the paint and also bend your paper. But as a general rule, just be patient and wait for the paint to dry naturally. And always take your time when you're painting. Slow and controlled brush strokes are my best advice for smooth letters. And here are my best tips to complete a challenge. Draw things that you like. I love drawing letters, so drawing them every day didn't feel like a chore and it was actually enjoyable. Sketch everything down and do lots of research. Every time you have an idea, make sure to sketch it down and do lots of visual research daily. Most of my ideas are unused concepts from a previous project. I write them all down so I don't forget them. And if you take inspiration from someone else's work, make sure to reference them when posting your work. Keep all of your materials in one place. If you don't have to always put your supplies away after you finish painting and they are already set up and easily accessible, you have less chances of skipping a day. I kept all of mine in one little trolley in my kitchen where I was painting every day. Set yourself a schedule. I created a nice routine where I was sketching my design the night before on my iPad and then painting it in the morning just before work. I tried to stick to this routine for a month and it worked. And I was actually missing it when it was over. Plan ahead. I kept a document on my laptop where I wrote down all of my ideas so I knew what I wanted to do long in advance. I also tried to always be one day ahead of time, so I was always painting the prompt that was due for the next day. And that's it, guys. Thanks so much for watching all the way till the end. And I hope that this video inspires you to create and explore some techniques you've never used before. I can promise you that committing to an art challenge like this will help you improve your skills, learn new techniques, and also help you discover things that you like. And this is very important to grow as an artist. Please feel free to let me know if you have any questions and I'll answer them in my next video. Also, let me know what you think my next challenge should be and don't forget to subscribe.